Hi, welcome to CLACCA ULC Sydney Homegroup Bible Studies. I'd just like to acknowledge that the land that we're meeting on today is of the Gadigal and the Wangal people of the Eora Nation. I pay my respects to the elders, both past and present, and recognise that sovereignty, treaty, and social justice has never been ceded. Today we are looking at Genesis 17, and so we look at behind, within, and in front of the text. In this particular passage, as before, it was written sometime between 850 BCE and 550 BCE. Moses is the author, and again, continuing along the theme of the origins and history of Israel. This particular passage is, we can see a resurgence of the androgynous, particularly in relation to the symbolic circumcision can be linked to transgender surgeries and also transgender name recognitions. The circumcision, the symbolic castration or circumcision marked as eunuchs was an Abrahamic covenant, and this included promises of land, abundance, of offspring, a great nation, and more importantly, the visible sign of circumcision and the recognition of both Abraham and Sarah's name, in which God makes it clear that neither Abraham nor Sarah will be called by their dead name. And that's God's covenant with both Abraham and Sarah. Within the text, we can, from Genesis 17:1-8, we can see there is a confirmation of an everlasting covenant with God. So the confirmation is both the recognition of Abraham and Sarah's name, as well as the circumcision. Circumcision vision. And the sign in Genesis 1:5, we can see the name recognition with Abraham. And in Genesis 17-15, we can see the name recognition of Sarah. In Genesis 17, 9-14, the sign of the covenant is demonstrated by the circumcision. And in Genesis 15-22, the recognition, name recognition of Sarah and Ishmael also takes place. In 17, 7 covenant message in support of transgender rights of reaffirming that name recognition, transgender surgeries are fully supported in the Bible, and is very much an important part of forming for transgender folks, it's an important part of forming covenant, forming a covenant with God, and so in no way, shape, or form, there is no evidence. There is no evidence to suggest that in any way, shape, or form, God is against it. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been. There wouldn't have been a name recognition, and there wouldn't have been surgery. So this is the closest account. This is one of many closest accounts that we've got of God's support of transgender rights that we can see in terms of name recognitions and transgender surgeries. Surgeries. It's an important part for transgender people, but people forming a covenant with God, God, and so the message here, the message here is reaffirms the fact that if God is willing to support name recognitions of transgender people and surgeries of transgender people in the Bible, as in this instance, then there's no pride in religious transphobia in any way, shape, or form, given the fact that we have a very clear account of name recognition and surgeries of transgender people, and I think that this demonstrates that this is another passage that is actually in support of transgender rights, and that equality with God, good, should be fully supported for transgender people without exemption. Thank you very much for joining us for this home group Bible studies. These and see you for church. I will see you next.